I'm Jeff Johnson, the CEO at EPUS Global Energy in Fort Worth, Texas. I wanted to talk to some of you today that may be not real familiar with oil and gas and how oil reserves work and oil production works. Well, for every barrel of oil that is in the ground, you ultimately only get about a third of that barrel out. And contrary to popular belief, it's not sitting down there in a pool. It's down there in a rock, in a pore. An example, think about a sponge. If you had a sponge and it was full of oil, and all the pores in the sponge, that's what holds the oil. And if you were to squeeze that sponge just a little bit, you get about 10 or 15% out initially. And that's what you call primary production, which is the production that I'm going to focus on with you today, because that's what we're after. So whenever you first drill a well, think about it going down, and you may have seen the movie Giant back in the day, or whatever it may have been whenever you've seen oil such as this just spew up out of the ground before we had control mechanisms. The reason it's doing that is you're drilling into an untapped reservoir that's built up a lot of pressure. Well, that well is going to flow for a little while until you don't have enough pressure to push it. Then you put a pump on, you've seen pump jacks, and then it will continue to pump like if you're a syringe pulling fluid, for medication. It's the same principle that whenever you use a pump jack. Whenever you pump as much as you can and it stops, that's usually about 30 or 40 years, and that's usually only about 10% of all the oil in the ground. So when we're going out and buying oil production that is producing, we're going to be able to, we know what we're paying per barrel because we know about how much is in there, we know about how much has been produced, we know what the expenses have been over a long period of time, and so we can reasonably predict what expenses are going to be going forward. And the only thing I can't tell you is where oil prices are going to be. But what I can do is I can buy a floor. I can use a financial mechanism to make sure that we get a minimum of $30 for the next couple of 3 years to lock in a return. I hope this was helpful. We'd love to talk to you. We're looking for investors. Thank you.